Hi, my name is Marley Clark. Today I'll be talking to you about 21st century learning frameworks. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to recognize why 21st century frameworks are more beneficial to students than traditional models of education. In order to persuade you to use 21st century frameworks in your classroom, you first want to understand what's wrong with our current framework in education. First off, we are following the exact same framework that we did in the 18th century. This framework went along with the stand and deliver type of classroom, and all students were required to learn the exact same way. There have been many changes since the 18th century, but not enough of those changes have occurred in the education system. That's not the way our students need to be learning now. To be effective, education needs to be tailored to an individual and provide for unique learner needs. We need to be providing our students with authentic learning experiences instead of a one-size-fits-all method. Our current framework of education provides students with a cookie-cutter education. What I mean is that students are grouped together since they are young, but there's a wide range of ability and interest within that group. We need to come up with a new approach that allows for students to show their creativity and express their ideas in new and unique ways. When you look across any classroom, the first thing that you should notice is that no student is alike. Therefore, providing students with a one-size-fits-all education framework is not going to be effective for the unique learning styles. Also, we are taking the creativity out of our students' minds. As teachers, we're asking students to come up with the same product instead of looking for creative ideas for solving the same problem. Instead, we should be waking students up from what's inside of themselves, according to Sir Ken Robinson. If we really think about it, are we preparing our students to have the skills that are going to need in the real world? If you look at the way our education system is currently structured, you'd start to notice that there are many holes and our students are not leaving our schools with the skills necessary to be successful after they leave our doors. So how do we fix the problem with our education system? Well, that answer is easy. We need to integrate a framework for 21st century learning. But you might be asking yourself, what is that? 21st century learning is where we transition from learning outcomes into experiences we want our students to have. We would still be providing students with general content knowledge, but we'd also be providing students with the necessary skills they will need to be successful in their future. 21st century learning also helps to bring creativity back into education instead of stifling the same creativity like we see in so many high school students. The goal of this type of framework puts the students in the driver's seat and allows for teachers to be facilitators of education instead of the students being sponges and learning information for a standardized test. How do we know what our students are supposed to know by the time they leave our doors? Some guidelines that help with this question are the 21st century skills. There are 5 themes that are used in 21st century learning: global awareness, financial, economic, business, and entrepreneurial literacy, civil literacy, health literacy, and environmental literacy are those 5 themes. These themes will be explained later in this presentation. The 21st century framework also outlines skills and concepts students should possess in order to be successful in life. We're preparing students for life after school, not just to pass a test. This type of framework includes both student outcomes and a support system that helps them to get there. Learning hinges upon 3 specific skill types, including learning and innovation skills, information, media, and technology skills, and life and career skills. Together, all 3 of these go to create a well-rounded individual who is prepared for life after high school. It may be helpful to provide an outline for what each of these skill sets entails. Learning and innovation skills focus on creativity, collaboration, and critical thinking skills. These are the skills that are essential for students to possess before they are sent off to a workplace situation. Students should be able to come up with multiple solutions to the same problem. It's often that because students think differently, they come up with multiple solutions to a simple problem that you may not have thought of on your own. Students should be willing to work with a variety of individuals to solve complex problems that require critical thinking. In the workplace, we don't get to choose who we work with, so willingness to work with anyone is a great skill for any person to possess. Analyzing information in a variety of formats and drawing conclusions using inductive and deductive reasoning is another important skill set students need to have. There are times when students just want the right answer. but using different reasoning skills often leads them to their own conclusions and makes them feel empowered. Finally, reflecting critically upon what was learned to further learning experiences is another essential skill. There are many times when students are done working and they do not reflect upon their work. When a person reflects upon what they've done, they can see areas of needed improvement and other areas that went well and that can really add to their learning experiences. The second skill set that's important for students to have from 21st century frameworks are information, media, and technology skills. These skills are focused on accessing and evaluating information and utilizing technology to further learning experiences. Students should be able to access and analyze credible online sources. They should be able to tell a credible website from one that is not credible and use only credible websites for research. Students should also be able to create original online media while choosing the most appropriate tools. Things like student-created blogs or videos would be an example of this. Students should also be able to use a variety of online technologies to analyze and contribute to online knowledge bases. One up-and-coming example would be a program called Edmodo. Edmodo allows students to talk with their peers, whether they go to the same school or not, and discuss different ideas they're going over in various disciplines. The last skill set outlined in the 21st century framework is life and career skills. These skills are focused on creating self-driven, focused individuals who are willing to collaborate with others in real-world environments. These types of skills encourage students to be both flexible and adaptable, which is an essential skill of any workplace. These skills also encourage students to possess superior time management skills according to what their goals are. They should be able to utilize their work time effectively and finish tasks by set deadlines. Finally, the life and career skills also provide leadership and guidance for diverse groups of individuals, so all students can be effective leaders in any situation they work with. I'd like to take some time and explain what the 21st century themes are. Global awareness is the first theme, and the 21st century framework encourages. Global awareness is where students gain an understanding of other cultures and other viewpoints than their own. Financial, economics, business, and entrepreneurial literacy encourages students to make appropriate personal choices and understand how the economy plays a role in our everyday society. It also encourages students to use entrepreneurial skills to be more productive in the workplace. Civil literacy encourages students to participate in civil life and understand how the government works. It also encourages students to exercise their rights as a citizen and understand government decisions. Health literacy encourages students to understand how healthcare works and how to prevent any health issues. It encourages students to come up with personal health goals and understand public health safety issues that they may see in their future. Finally, environmental literacy encourages students to look inwardly at their actions and how it affects the environment. They should be able to come up with conclusions or ideas on how to solve environmental issues. Here's an image of the 21st century student outcomes and support system that the 21st century framework would be modeled after. Notice that there's a rainbow portion that focuses on life and career skills, learning and innovation skills, and information, media, and technology skills. Core subjects are also shown just below, and together these become our student outcomes. The area below the standards include standards and assessment, curriculum and instruction, professional development, and learning environments. And these are the support systems that encourage the student outcomes already mentioned. Here are 3 examples of using 21st century frameworks in your own classroom. I've decided to go after a science classroom since I'm a science teacher. So this particular activity focuses on learning and innovation, including creativity and innovation. The outcome I want my students to have is they should be able to describe how science, research, and engineering all contribute to new inventions or different ways of solving old problems in order to become more efficient. The example activity I could have would be small groups of students designing 3D models of a spacecraft that can travel from Earth to the Moon and back. Each spacecraft must have certain things like the ability to accommodate 3 astronauts and supplies for the trip and equipment necessary for re-entry. Groups will present their models to the class and defend their design model and present their research. Classmates will provide feedback on positives and negatives to each design. So not only are they creative, but they're reflecting on what they've learned. A second example of implementing the framework for 21st century skills in a science classroom deals with information, media, and technology, especially collaboration. A student outcome would be students work collaboratively in a variety of disciplines to participate in scientific discussion and research to create a product based on evidence and reasoning. An example would be students collaborating with STEM and English departments to research how to create a survival structure to survive in for 20 minutes. They will create a structure and be required to keep the structure at a specific temperature for an extended period of time. After the activity, students will create news articles explaining the success or failure of the structure that they created. In my school, this has required us to create an interdisciplinary team to align many standards into one very elaborate project. And finally, implementing a framework for 21st century skills in a classroom, in a science classroom, for life and career skills. And I decided to focus on leadership and responsibility. The student outcome I had was students should be able to understand the role of science in everyday society, but can recognize potential sources of bias, and that can affect how scientific discoveries or research is presented to the public. The example activity I chose was students investigating the burning of fossil fuels contributing to global warming from a variety of resources. As you know, global warming has been a hotly debated topic for a long time, and students don't always have the correct information. So what students are going to do is they're going to create a presentation that defends their position on the connection or lack of connection of burning fossil fuels and global warming to identify potential areas of bias or opinion from fact. Usually this would lead into a debate that allows for students to take on leadership roles, present their ideas, and also defend their ideas. In conclusion, in order for students to be successful in educational systems utilizing 21st century skills, we must provide learners with the following. Students must be exposed to authentic learning experiences, where they gain a concrete understanding for the ideas talked about in class. Not only does our content have to have application within our school, but it should go beyond our school system. Students should realize that this isn't something that's going to be learned and forgotten, but it's a skill that will be used forever. Students should have skills where they're able to collaborate with any type of individual. There should be a support system for individualized learning. The role of the teacher should transition into that of a facilitator, and students should take charge of their own learning experiences. Lastly, there should be transparency between the community and education. We should be giving our students skills that will help them in the real world, and not just ones that will allow them to be successful in their lives. As teachers, we are preparing the next generation to be in society, and we need to be sure that we have given them the necessary tools to be successful. The most successful framework that I can think of for education would be one that integrates 21st century themes and skills. We need to break out of the 18th century model of education and come into the future to provide our students with unique learning experiences that will make them well-rounded members of our society. Here's a list of the references I use. Please feel free to read up on any of the 21st century skills that I've mentioned previously.